The rain battered the windshield as Mia gripped the steering wheel, her heart pounding louder than the storm outside. She was horribly late for dinner at her best friend's house, and the thought of facing Elise's mother, Mrs. Harper, made her stomach twist. What was it about that woman that turned Mia into a nervous wreck, as if her very presence could unravel every secret she'd buried deep? Mia parked her beat-up Toyota in the driveway of the Harpers' pristine suburban home in Portland, Oregon. The house glowed under the stormy sky, its warm lights spilling out like a beacon. She took a deep breath, smoothing her damp navy sweater, and stepped into the rain, clutching a bottle of cheap wine she'd grabbed at the last minute. Elise had invited her over for a casual dinner, a chance to catch up after months of drifting apart since college graduation. But as Mia rang the doorbell, she couldn't shake the feeling that tonight would be anything but ordinary. Elise opened the door, her short blonde hair tousled, her blue eyes sparkling with that familiar mix of mischief and warmth. "You're soaked?" she laughed, pulling Mia inside. At 23, Elise was everything Mia wasn't: bold, unapologetic, and effortlessly magnetic. They'd been inseparable in college, sharing late-night study sessions, secrets, and dreams. But lately Mia had felt a distance growing, a tension she couldn't name. Was it her imagination, or did Elise's gaze linger a little too long? "Mia, you made it." Mrs. Harper's voice cut through the cozy foyer, sharp and commanding. Claire Harper, Elise's mother, stood at the entrance to the dining room, her auburn hair swept into an elegant updo, her tailored blazer and skirt screaming authority. At 45, she was a striking woman, poised, intense, and intimidating. Mia had always sensed Claire's disapproval, as if she could see right through her. "I was beginning to think you'd stood us up," Claire added, her smile tight. "Sorry, Mrs. Harper," Mia stammered, handing over the wine. "The rain slowed me down." Claire's eyes flicked to the bottle, then back to Mia, her expression unreadable. "Call me Claire. And don't worry, we're just glad you're here." Her tone was polite, but there was something in her gaze, something that made Mia's skin prickle. The dining room was a vision of warmth, with a polished wooden table set for three, candles flickering, and the aroma of roasted chicken filling the air. Elise pulled out a chair for Mia, her fingers brushing Mia's arm, sending an unexpected jolt through her. "Sit next to me," Elise said, her voice soft but insistent. Mia's cheeks flushed as she obeyed, hyper-aware of Elise's closeness. Dinner began with small talk: work, weather, Elise's new job at a local art gallery. But Mia struggled to focus. Claire's presence dominated the room, her questions pointed, her eyes lingering on Mia in a way that felt both scrutinizing and something else. Was it curiosity, judgment, or something more dangerous? "So Mia," Claire said, swirling her wine, "you're still at that bookstore, aren't you? No big plans yet?" Mia swallowed hard. I like it there. It's quiet. Gives me time to think." "Thinking's overrated," Elise teased, nudging Mia's knee under the table. The touch was fleeting, but it sent Mia's heart racing. She glanced at Elise, who was grinning, oblivious to the storm brewing inside her. Claire's lips curved into a faint smile. "Elise tells me you two were quite close in college. Practically inseparable." Mia's fork froze midair. "Yeah, we were good friends." "Were?" Claire raised an eyebrow, her tone almost playful. "Not anymore?" Elise laughed, but it sounded forced. "Mom, stop interrogating her. Mia's still my favorite person, okay?" Mia's chest tightened. Favorite person. The words echoed in her mind, stirring feelings she'd spent years trying to suppress. She'd always admired Elise, her confidence, her passion, the way she lit up every room. But lately admiration had morphed into something deeper, something Mia was terrified to name. She wasn't supposed to feel this way. Not about her best friend. Not in a world where people like Claire Harper could make her feel small with a single glance. As the meal progressed, the conversation shifted to lighter topics, but the undercurrent of tension remained. Mia caught Claire watching her, her gaze sharp and unyielding. It wasn't just disapproval. Mia realized it was as if Claire knew something Mia hadn't admitted to herself. The thought made her palms sweat. After dinner, Elise suggested they move to the living room for coffee. Mia offered to help clear the table, desperate for a moment to collect herself. In the kitchen, she stacked plates by the sink, her hands trembling. She didn't hear Claire approach until her voice, low and deliberate, broke the silence. "You're nervous tonight, Mia," Claire said, standing closer than necessary. "Is it me, or is it my daughter?" Mia froze, her breath catching. "Two don't know what you mean." Claire's eyes narrowed, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Don't play coy. I see the way you look at her. And I see the way she looks at you." Mia's heart stopped. She opened her mouth to protest, but no words came. Claire stepped closer, her presence overwhelming. "Be careful, Mia," she said softly, but there was steel in her tone. "Elise is impressionable, and I protect what's mine." The words hung in the air, a warning wrapped in silk. Mia's mind raced. Did Claire know? Had she seen the truth Mia had been hiding even from herself? And what did she mean about Elise? Before Mia could respond, Elise appeared in the doorway, oblivious to the tension. "Hey, you two plotting world domination in here," she joked, her smile bright but fleeting. Claire stepped back, her expression softening instantly. "Just making sure Mia feels at home," she said smoothly. "Let's have that coffee." Mia followed them to the living room, her mind a whirlwind. Claire's words echoed, each one a pinprick of fear and truth. She glanced at Elise, who was laughing at something on her phone, and felt a pang of longing so sharp it hurt. This dinner was supposed to be simple, a chance to reconnect. But as Mia sat on the couch, Claire's warning and Elise's warmth pulling her in opposite directions, she knew one thing for certain. Nothing about tonight would be simple. The living room was a cocoon of soft light and plush furniture, but to Mia, it felt like a stage where every glance and word was scrutinized. She sat on the edge of the couch, clutching her coffee mug, her eyes darting between Elise and Claire. Elise sprawled beside her, her knee brushing Mia's, each touch igniting a spark Mia tried desperately to ignore. "So," Elise said, breaking the silence, "remember that time we snuck into the campus art gallery after hours? You were so paranoid we'd get caught." Her laugh was warm, pulling Mia back to simpler days when their friendship was uncomplicated, free of the weight Mia now felt pressing against her chest. "I was not paranoid," Mia protested, a smile tugging at her lips despite herself. "You were the one who almost knocked over that sculpture." Claire watched them from an armchair, her expression unreadable but her eyes sharp. "You two have quite the history," she said, her voice smooth but laced with something Mia couldn't place. "It's rare to see such devotion." Mia's smile faltered. Devotion. The word felt too heavy, too close to the truth she wasn't ready to face. She sipped her coffee, the bitterness grounding her. We got each other through college," she said carefully. Elise grinned, oblivious to the undercurrent. "More like Mia got me through. She's the one who kept me from flunking calculus." Mia blushed, her heart swelling at Elise's praise. But Claire's gaze never wavered, and Mia felt exposed, as if her feelings were laid bare. She needed air, space, anything to escape the intensity of this room. "I'm just gonna step outside for a sec," Mia said, standing abruptly. "Need some fresh air." Elise frowned, concern flickering in her eyes. "You okay?" "Yeah, just." The rain stopped. "I'll be quick." Mia forced a smile and slipped out to the back porch, the cool night air a relief against her flushed skin. The Harpers' backyard was a small oasis, with fairy lights strung along the fence and a wooden swing swaying gently in the breeze. Mia leaned against the railing, her breath shaky. Claire's words from the kitchen replayed in her mind. "I see the way you look at her." She'd always known she felt something for Elise, something more than friendship, but admitting it, even to herself, felt like stepping off a cliff. Growing up in a small town, Mia had learned early to keep her feelings locked away. Her parents, kind but conservative, wouldn't understand. And Elise was her best friend, her safe place. What if confessing ruined everything? The door creaked behind her and Mia turned to find Elise, her leather jacket slung over her shoulder, her expression soft but searching. "You sure you're okay?" Elise asked, stepping closer. "You've been weird all night." Mia's throat tightened. "I'm fine. Just a lot on my mind." Elise tilted her head, her blue eyes catching the glow of the fairy lights. "You can tell me, you know. You used to tell me everything." The words hit like a punch. Mia wanted to spill it all, the confusion, the longing, the fear of Claire's judgment. But instead she said, "It's nothing." Just work stress. Elise didn't look convinced. She stepped closer, so close Mia could smell her citrusy perfume. You're a terrible liar, Mia. Her voice was gentle, teasing. But there was something else in its something that made Mia's heart skip. Before Mia could respond, Elise reached out, tucking a strand of Mia's hair behind her ear. The touch was soft, deliberate, and it sent a shiver down Mia's spine. For a moment they stood frozen, the air between them electric. Mia's eyes locked on Elise's, and she saw a flicker of something that mirrored her own feelings. Or was she imagining it? Elise. Mia started, her voice barely a whisper. The door swung open and Claire's voice cut through the moment like a knife. Elise, I need your help with something inside. Her tone was calm, but her eyes were on Mia, cold and piercing. Elise sighed, breaking the spell. Coming, Mom. She gave Mia a small, apologetic smile before heading back inside, leaving Mia alone with her racing thoughts. Mia stayed on the porch, her hands gripping the railing. What had just happened? Had Elise felt it too, that spark, that pull? Or was Mia reading too much into a simple gesture? And Claire? Her interruption felt deliberate, like she'd been watching, waiting to intervene. When Mia finally returned inside, the mood had shifted. Claire was all smiles, offering dessert, but her warmth felt calculated. Elise seemed quieter, her usual energy dimmed. They ate apple pie in near silence, the clink of forks deafening. Mia's mind churned with questions, but one stood out. Why did Claire seem so determined to keep her at arm's length from Elise? As the night wound down, Elise walked Mia to her car. The rain had left the air crisp, and the streetlights cast long shadows across the driveway. Thanks for coming, Elise said, her voice soft. I've missed you, you know. Mia's heart ached. I've missed you too. She wanted to say more, to ask about that moment on the porch, but fear held her back. Elise hesitated, then pulled Mia into a hug. It was brief but tight, and Mia felt every point of contact like a brand. Let's not wait so long next time, Elise said, pulling back with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Mia nodded, unable to speak. As she drove away, Claire's warning echoed in her mind, but so did Elise's touch, her smile, her warmth. Mia didn't know what was happening, but one thing was clear. This was only the beginning. The next week passed in a blur, but Mia couldn't shake the memory of that night. Elise's touch lingered in her dreams, and Claire's warning haunted her waking hours. She buried herself in her job at the bookstore, organizing shelves and helping customers, but her thoughts always drifted back to Elise. One afternoon, as Mia was restocking poetry books, her phone buzzed with a text from Elise. Coffee tomorrow? Just you and me. No mom this time. Mia's heart leapt, but doubt crept in. Was this just Elise being friendly? Or was there more to it? She typed a quick sure, and spent the rest of the day overanalyzing every word. They met at a small cafe downtown, its windows fogged from the autumn chill. Elise was already there, sipping a latte, her leather jacket draped over the chair. She looked up as Mia entered, her smile bright enough to rival the sun. You're late again, she teased. Only by 5 minutes, Mia shot back, sliding into the seat across from her. The cafe was cozy, filled with the hum of conversation and the scent of fresh coffee. For the first time in days, Mia felt like she could breathe. They talked for hours, slipping back into their old rhythm, laughing about college pranks, sharing stories about their jobs, and debating the best books. But beneath the easy banter, Mia felt the weight of that moment on the porch. Every time Elise's hand brushed hers, every time their eyes met, Mia's heart raced. She wanted to ask, to know, but fear kept her silent. Finally, as the cafe began to empty, Elise leaned forward, her expression serious. Mia, what's going on with you? You've been distant. Even tonight it's like you're holding back. Mia's mouth went dry. I'm not. I'm just. She trailed off, her eyes dropping to the table. How could she explain the chaos inside her? The fear of ruining their friendship, the terror of Claire's judgment, the overwhelming pull she felt toward Elise? Elise reached across the table, her hand covering Mia's. You can trust me, she said softly. Whatever it is, I'm here. Mia's breath hitched. Elise's hand was warm, steady, and the sincerity in her eyes broke something in Mia. I don't know how to say this, she began, her voice trembling. I think I feel something for you. More than just friends. The words hung in the air, raw and vulnerable. Mia braced herself for rejection, for confusion, for the end of everything. But Elise didn't pull away. Her eyes softened and a small, almost shy smile curved her lips. "Mia," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been waiting for you to say that." Mia's world tilted. "You? What?" Elise squeezed her hand. "I've felt it too. For a while now. I didn't know how to tell you without scaring you off." Mia stared, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure Elise could hear it. "You're serious?" Elise nodded, her smile growing. "Dead serious. I mean, come on, Mia. You're you. How could I not fall for you?" The confession was like sunlight breaking through clouds. Mia laughed, a shaky, relieved sound, and Elise joined her, their hands still entwined. For a moment it was just them, the world fading away. But then reality crept back in Claire's warning, the weight of what this meant. "What about your mom?" Mia asked, her voice low. She said something to me that night. About protecting you." Elise's smile faded. "What did she say?" Mia hesitated, then recounted the kitchen conversation, every word etched in her memory. Elise's expression darkened, a mix of anger and frustration. "She's always been like that," Elise said. "Overprotective. Controlling. She thinks she knows what's best for me, but she doesn't get to decide this." Mia swallowed hard. "But what if she's right? What if I'm not good enough?" Elise's eyes flashed with determination. "Don't you dare say that. You're more than enough. And the Susit's ours, not hers." Mia wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered. They left the cafe hand in hand, the city bustling around them, but Mia couldn't shake the feeling that Claire's shadow loomed larger than ever. That night Mia's phone rang. It was Claire. Her voice was calm, almost too calm. "Mia, I'd like to speak with you. Alone. Can you come by tomorrow evening?" Mia's stomach dropped. "Sure," she said, her voice barely steady. As she hung up, fear and hope warred within her. Elise's confession had lit a fire in her heart, but Claire's call felt like a storm on the horizon. Mia barely slept, her mind replaying Elise's confession and Claire's ominous call. By the time she arrived at the Harpers' house the next evening, her nerves were frayed. The sky was heavy with clouds, mirroring the dread in her chest. She knocked and Claire answered, her expression neutral but her eyes sharp. "Thank you for coming," Claire said, ushering Mia into the living room. Elise was nowhere in sight, and the house felt eerily quiet. "Elise is out with friends. I thought it best we speak privately." Mia nodded, her throat tight. She sat on the couch, her hands clasped to keep them from trembling. Claire sat across from her, her posture perfect, her gaze unrelenting. "I'll be direct," Claire began. "I know about you and Elise. She told me this morning." Mia's heart sank. She did." Claire nodded. "She's infatuated, Mia. And I'm worried. You're a sweet girl, but you're unsettled. No clear direction, no stability. Elise deserves someone who can match her ambition, her potential." The words cut deep, each one a confirmation of Mia's worst fears. "I care about her," Mia said, her voice shaking. "More than anything." "I don't doubt that," Claire said, her tone softening slightly. "But caring isn't enough. Love is messy, Mia. It's complicated. And Elise, she's my daughter. I want to protect her from getting hurt." Mia's eyes stung with unshed tears. "You think I'd hurt her?" "Not intentionally," Claire said. "But you're young. You're both figuring yourselves out. And this kind of relationship comes with challenges you may not be ready for." Mia wanted to argue, to defend her feelings, but Claire's words echoed her own doubts. What if she wasn't enough for Elise? What if their love crumbled under the weight of the world's judgment? Claire leaned forward, her voice low. "I'm not saying you can't be friends, but anything more. I'm asking you to think carefully. For Elise's sake." Mia left the house in a daze, Claire's words ringing in her ears. She drove aimlessly, ending up at a park near the river. The water glistened under the streetlights and Mia sat on a bench, her thoughts a tangled mess. She loved Elise more than she'd ever loved anyone. But Claire's warning had planted a seed of doubt, and it was growing fast. Her phone buzzed with a text from Elise. "Where are you? Mom said you stopped by." Everything okay? Mia stared at the screen, her fingers hovering over the keyboard. She wanted to tell Elise everything, to confess her fears, but the words wouldn't come. Instead she typed, "I'm fine. Just needed some air. Talk soon?" Elise's reply was immediate. "You sure? I'm here if you need me." Mia's heart ached. She wanted to run to Elise, to hold her and never let go. But Claire's voice lingered, a reminder of the risks, the judgment, the fear of losing everything. The next few days were torture. Elise texted and called, but Mia kept her distance, claiming work was overwhelming. She threw herself into her job, but the bookstore, once her sanctuary, felt suffocating. Every love poem she shelved, every romantic novel she rang up, reminded her of Elise. One evening, as Mia was closing the store, Elise appeared at the door, her face a mix of worry and frustration. "You're avoiding me," she said, stepping inside. "What's going on, Mia?" Mia's heart pounded. "I'm not. I just needed time to think. About us." Elise's voice cracked. "Did I push you too fast? Did I scare you?" "No," Mia said quickly. "It's not you. It's your mom. She thinks I'm not good enough for you." Elise's eyes blazed. "She said that?" Mia nodded, tears spilling over. "She's not wrong, Elise. I'm a mess. I don't have my life together. What if I drag you down?" Elise stepped closer, her hands cupping Mia's face. "You listen to me," she said fiercely. "You are not a mess. You're the kindest, most incredible person I know. And I don't care what my mom thinks. I choose you." Mia's breath caught, her tears falling freely now. Elise's words were a lifeline, pulling her from the depths of doubt. Without thinking, she closed the distance between them, their lips meeting in a kiss that was equal parts desperation and hope. It was soft at first, then urgent, as if they could pour every fear, every longing into that single moment. When they pulled apart, Elise's eyes were shining. "We're in this together, okay?" she said. "No matter what." Mia nodded, her heart full but heavy. She wanted to believe they could face anything, but Claire's warning still loomed, a shadow they couldn't outrun. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of stolen moments and secret promises. Mia and Elise met in quiet corners of the city parks, cafes, the back of the bookstore after hours. Each touch, each kiss, felt like a rebellion against the world's expectations, against Claire's disapproval. But the joy of their love was tempered by the constant fear of discovery. Elise wanted to tell her mother, to face her head-on, but Mia hesitated. "What if she tries to pull us apart?" she asked one night, curled up with Elise on her tiny apartment couch. "She can try," Elise said, her voice fierce. "But she won't win. Not this time." Mia wanted to believe her, but doubt lingered. Claire's influence was a constant presence, like a storm cloud on the horizon. And when Elise invited Mia to another family dinner, Mia's stomach churned with dread. "We don't have to hide," Elise insisted. "Let's show her we're serious." Mia agreed, but as they walked into the Harper's house, her heart pounded. Claire greeted them with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Welcome back, Mia," she said, her tone polite but cold. "I see you and Elise have been spending a lot of time together." Elise took Mia's hand, her grip firm. "We're together, Mom. For real." The room fell silent, the air thick with tension. Claire's smile faltered, but she recovered quickly. "I see," she said, her voice tight. "Well, let's eat." Dinner was a battle of silences and forced pleasantries. Claire's questions were pointed, her gaze piercing. Mia felt like she was under a microscope, every word and gesture dissected. But Elise was unwavering, her hand resting on Mia's knee under the table, a quiet promise of solidarity. After dinner, Claire asked Elise to help with dishes, leaving Mia alone in the living room. Mia's nerves were frayed, but she stood her ground, determined not to let Claire intimidate her. When Claire returned, she sat across from Mia, her expression unreadable. "I underestimated you," Claire said finally. "I thought you'd back down." Mia met her gaze, her voice steady despite her fear. "I love her, Claire. And I'm not going anywhere." Claire's eyes narrowed, but there was a flicker of respect in them. "Love is a choice, Mia. It's not just feelings. It's sacrifice, commitment, facing the world together. Are you ready for that?" Mia thought of the fear, the doubt, the nights spent questioning herself. But she also thought of Elise, her laugh, her strength, the way she made Mia feel like she could be enough. Yes, she said firmly. I am. Claire studied her for a long moment, then nodded. Then prove it. Not to me, but to her. The conversation ended there, but it felt like a turning point. Claire didn't approve, not fully, but she hadn't forbidden it either. It was a small victory, but it gave Mia hope. Over the next months, Mia and Elise built their relationship in the open, no longer hiding. They faced challenges, whispers from coworkers, judgmental looks from strangers, even tension with Mia's own family. But they faced them together, their love a shield against the world. One evening, as they walked along the river, Elise stopped and pulled Mia close. You know, she said, her voice soft, I never thought I'd find someone who makes me feel this free. Mia smiled, her heart full. You make me brave, she said. Braver than I ever thought I could be. They kissed under the starlit sky, the city humming around them. Claire's shadow still lingered, but it was smaller now, less daunting. Mia and Elise had chosen each other, and that choice, messy, complicated, beautiful, was enough. Their love wasn't perfect, but it was theirs. And in a world that often felt cold and judgmental, it was a warmth they'd fight to keep, a light that would guide them forward together. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.